Hello everyone and welcome back to an exciting Beyond All Reason recap here. I'm Turd Bucket. I'm going to be taking you through this game that we got to play with none other than the world famous Wintergaming. As we'll see, it was a game that fell apart from the start. And we'll kind of break down why that happened here. So, starting out in the back corner, we've got Power Gaming. In the air spot, we've got the Russian. In the eco spot, you got me, Turd Bucket. In the other back corner, we've got Zap, Synapse Death, Laco 1997, IT003, and Wintergaming. So right off the rip, we can see a huge problem is the Russian decided that he was going to make his lab before any energy. You can't do that. You have to make at least one solar. Really, it's two solars if you want to be able to get your lab up. Winter is also going with a full wind start here, which worked out mightily in his favor with this 16 wind right off the rip, so that worked out nicely for him. Empower is going with a two solar 3 max lab open and switching into windmills. Russian is dumping metal into solars, which is not the best play. You do want to get some windmills going. Even if you don't have your con yet, even if you're going to have to build those core windmills, which honestly have become more in line with the ARM windmills here lately. I go with my traditional 3 max, 2 solars, lab, 4 wind, moving on out with the con to build those mexes. You can see Zap here. He is not claiming his 3 mexes, which is going to be a huge disadvantage. He's deciding to pump out some units early, and if we check in on his eco, he's consuming 18 metal per second and only bringing in 8. So that's going to be a very quick resource drain on Zaft. Synapse Death is AFK a little bit here with his comm. It's 2 minutes in and his comm is just chilling. It's not helping to build. It's not heading to the front. Neither of those things are good, especially at the 2-minute mark. You either want to be walking your comm up or you are cranking out some units to get to the front. Laco is got units on the front. He has established his front line, and his commander is making his way downtown. This is what you want to see at the now the 3-minute mark. IT has no units. He is all eco at this point, and is bringing his comm up and building this wall structure here. Now, I've seen videos talking about these, build your walls and build your LLTs behind them. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't think it's a great idea. You could see, first of all, he's building it way too far back. He needs to be up on this line here. And second of all, he's going to be wasting a lot of time and resources into building this, and this is quite useless. Okay? The enemy can come in around Laco and right up the gut and can hit either IT's base, Laco's base, air, or my base right in the eco spot. So it's not a great move here. Empower also is not bringing his comm up and only has 2 tanks on the front. It's not necessary for that corner canyon person to be out too quickly, but given the fact that IT is struggling, it would have been good probably for Winter and Empower to get up to the line very quickly to try to secure this spot, especially after we noticed that their top player was in the middle. And Laco now calls that out, showing that Bully Bonker has already created the first little bubble in the front line. Laco is doing the same thing. On his side, Mountains is playing a very similar game to IT, but at any rate, this is not looking good for our team, as Laco is the 4th best player, and Bully is the top player. And just as I predicted, look at this. Bully is going to take a little raid exactly where I called it. And IT, with his limited resources, he's pouring a lot into those walls. He doesn't have a lot of build power or metal and energy well, mostly metal, to make troops. And so Bully is able to get a little raid in on Laco's base. Doesn't get anything of value there. But again, pulling troops off the front line. See, Laco had to pull all his stuff back. Zaft had to bring units over. IT had to bring his units back. So that's leaving our front line very vulnerable in this critical center of the map. So Synapse is bringing his units towards the middle instead of pressuring the canyon here, and also providing no support to Laco. So now his flank is completely exposed. Mountains, Pony, End Times, they can have their way with this lane. So basically we've got 2 wide open lanes. It could be in big trouble. Another problem, Laco and Empower are really the only 2 comms on the front line. Even Wintergaming, he's not in the fight yet. He's still building mexes and dropping light laser towers in the canyon here. It doesn't mean that's a bad play. It's just his comms not on the front. They don't feel that pressure just yet, right? Zako can send units in this way because he could run past all these defenses. There's no commander to degun any of his units. Empower is making his presence felt, and Bully knows it. So Bully obviously is going to want to try to do something to Empower here. And he does have his a lane mate here in Zako who can help him out with that. So now it's really a 2v1 versus Empower, which is going to be a really tough position to hold for Empower now, especially as IT continues to use his comm to build mexes and take him off the front line, which again has barely any units to speak of. He's got 6 total units on the front line right now, with these meager and frankly useless defenses. And again, this is not to... IT mentioned to us that he was a new player at the beginning of the game, so I'm not saying these things because IT is the only person I've ever seen do this. I'm making these comments because I'm trying to express to you that building these walls like this is a silly idea. You can build walls in choke points like this to seal them off, so that units can't sneak by if you want to protect one or more of these entrances. That's fine. But walls out in these larger areas, they're generally going to be very slow to build, and drain your resources. And you can see everyone talks about, oh, you know, these hits they can't hit your stuff behind the walls with their rockets or their plasma. They absolutely can. I don't know where this comes from, but the targeting on these units are good enough to make that happen. So, at any rate, let's check back in. So Zaft does come up and starts helping Laco with his line here, but Laco's getting really sucked in to help IT, because IT again is doing pretty much nothing with his units and with his forward base here, and is now starting to build walls even farther back. Again, not a great play. No offense, IT, whatsoever. You know, I think you're learning and you're going to grow and you're going to get better for sure. But again, this is kind of a waste of time. This is definitely a waste of resources. And your comm is just chilling, doing nothing, not pressuring. There's no concern whatsoever, and we're just losing the front bit by bit. End Times, Mountains, and Pony have decided that they are going to come out of their shell and start poking around at Zaft and Sinas. They realize that Laco is gone. He is no longer in his position because he has to help IT, who again is not contributing much to the team right now. New player, so we're not bullying him by any means, but we want to at least show the importance of getting units out and having your commander on the front line, what that can do for the team. So at this point, Bully has been rushed a T2 bot and has been able to spin up a T2 vehicle lab, which is going to do some major damage. Bringing in these Jaguars into IT's base again. Not much of a kill there, honestly. IT wasn't doing much for us, but at the same time, he knows this lane is completely wide open now, and they can basically have their way with us. Winter is falling in the canyon as well. He's getting pushed back, so you can see that Simp is being able to push a little bubble into Winter's line here. And now DME Zako is making his way in as well. Bully and his units are pushing back Laco. End Times has a nice little run by now because Laco had to move his units out of position. Zaft and Synapse are, well, Zaft is not making units, and Synapse is he is a little bit AFK with his comm. If his comm was up here, these units wouldn't have the ability to just move about wherever they feel like, right? If there's a comm up here like Zaft has, and the Synapse was up here as well, they would at least be able to block off this area in here, even if they did get pushed back. You know, have one comm here, and units sprinkled in between. You'd be able to do something, but unable to do anything now because we've we've pulled our comms back all the way back. Laco, I understand he was trying to defend against this rush by Bully and Zako, so I understand why he pulled his comm back. But in general, you know, this is not good. Winter now is pulling his comm back too, along with units, presumably to try to stop these Jaguars that are now coming in for his base. So this is going to be very, very interesting what happens next here. Those Jaguars make their way through, and they start to obliterate his defenses, or I'm sorry, his economy. Here's another poor play. When you have bombers as the air player, do not send them against enemy units in your allies' bases. The bombers will bomb the units that are in your allies' base, but that will also bomb your allies' eco. So please do not send bombers in to attack enemy units in your allies' base. Keep those bombers back, ground them, or put them on do hold fire, whatever it takes to prevent them from making those attacks. So we do have a little bit of a bombing run here, so he does the right thing, gets those bombers out of there and starts to attack the enemy. Gets a good little bombing run there. Heading over for the eco player now. Not great there. He missed pretty much everything. And hits it again even after seeing it. So he's going to come back around now, though, and he is going to get those windmills. Nice, very nice. Meanwhile, their air player is a bit AFK. But it doesn't really matter that they're getting their eco. We're getting their eco player. Really, Bully Bonker is the one that's doing the most of the damage. You can see Empower and Winter resign. They know it's over. I know it's over, frankly, but I at least wanted to do a little something with the comms here, so I take over their commanders and move in for some D-guns to try to take out some of these units here. And frankly, that's a big feed there. We've got pretty much all the units are dead now. We're getting hit from the right side. We're getting hit from the left side. There's not much left to do, right? There's pretty much just resign at this point. So, bit of a Pyrrhic victory, destroying the eco player here, but in general, this was a pretty lousy game. And you know, it really goes back to a lot of those basic principles that I preach. You know, people like to get extremely detailed about, oh, how much metal does this cost, and you know, how much damage per second, and can it shoot when it's backing up, and all that stuff is important. I'm not taking anything away from that, right? There's strategies, there's units, there's a lot of wonderful things that Bar has to offer, right? There's so many different levels that you can get into and understand and you know, improve upon, right? But at the end of the day, the number one thing is make units and get your comm on the front. If you're in the front line or in a frontline support position, make units and get your commander to the front as soon as possible, right? You got to start thinking about that at that 2-minute mark. You got to start thinking about walking him up, right? So please remember that. And again, no shade on anyone in this game in particular. Just kind of pointing out some of the things that I noticed. Probably part of the reasons why we lost. And we'll just try to do better next time and try to get a W in the next round. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Drop a turd in the comments. Peace.